All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Chakwadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, salutations to the hopeful elect that's fighting a good fight of faith and truth, in sincerity and wholeheartedly. Shalom to the Akwath, which is the women believers. Shalom unto you. So this man's name is Scott Ritter. He's a former U.S. Marine. He dealt with the intelligence in the weaponry. So he's very skilled in that. So he knows what he's talking about. As you've seen, I think I did a video with him already. But he just going in on what prophecy say. Basically talking about how America is weak. America ain't what it used to be. And I'm allowed the video to play. And then we get some scriptures, the Lord willing, be edifying.
Fight a war. We can't win a war. Back when I was in the Marine Corps, we actually had a posture of fighting 2.5 wars. The way the United States was configured militarily, we could fight a war in Europe using NATO and defeat the Soviet Union. At the same time, we could fight a major war in the Pacific, probably North Korea, and defeat the North Korean Chinese threat, and still have sufficient force to engage in a smaller war, say in the Middle East, where we would.
You see what he said, right? So back when America was at its height, we could do this, we could do that, but you can't do that no more. That's why the Lord said this. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? That's what's about to happen. So the hammer of the whole earth is about to get cut asunder. The Lord is about to allow all these nations to destroy them.
Fight a holding action until we won one of the two major wars and diverted the resources in to win the half war. And we had the forces to do that. We trained to do it. We were ready to do it. And thank God we never had to do it, but I think we could have done it. Today, we went from 2.5 to 2 wars. Today, we're down to literally 1 war, and we can't even do 1 war.
So, the scriptures, man, beautiful, especially if you have understanding. The scriptures prophesy everything that this man's talking about. So it said, hell from beneath is moved for you to meet you at your coming. It stirred up the dead for you, talking about, these ancient warriors coming back. The Lord deals with reincarnation. The spirit, don't change, but the flesh change. So these warriors, these kings of old are back today, and they about to destroy you. All right. It said, even all the chief ones of the earth, it have raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. So, Putin, Jinping, all of them. I think it's Aragon or something. That's the leader of Turkey. So all these kings, they was kings of old, and they coming to destroy Babylon because the Lord said in Revelation 17. I want to say 17, Revelation 17:17. So he have put it in his heart to fulfill his will. All right. So it said, all they shall speak and say unto you, are you also become weak as we? Are you become like unto us? What is this man talking about? This man is talking about how at one point in time, we could fight 2 wars at one time. We can't even win 1 war right now because the Lord is in control of prophecy. The Lord ain't about to have you, even though he can do it that way. But he wants you to be humiliated. He wants your pomp, which is your proudness, which is the next scripture I'm going to read. He wanted to come down to the ground. He wants you to go into the war with the thought that I could possibly lose this, because the scriptures that I'm going to get is basically about to prove that America is not the few, the proud, the Marines. All right. It's no more of that. The scripture said that you're going to be scared to fight, which is the scripture I'm going to get. So it says, so the nation's like, are you become weak like us? Yeah. Joel 3:10, let the weak say I'm strong. At one point in time, like I said, I think last video, nations wouldn't even think twice. They won't think at all about speaking against America. Now they talking about we're going to do this to America. We're going to do this to Israel. They talking cash money, SHIT. All right. Because the Lord is rousing up these nations. So it said your pomp, which is your pride, is brought down to the grave, and the noise of your vows, the worm is spread under you, and the worms cover you, which represents your death. All right, because that's what's coming to you. And it said, how are you fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, the son of the morning? All right, which means that goes into the Illuminati. That goes into, the light bearer. That's what Lucifer means. And your wisdom come from the left-hand side. All right. So it says, how are you cut down to the ground, which did weak as the nation? So as this man is talking, he's talking about the time when America was great, fighting wars, and then they could fight 2 wars and a half at one time. Not no more.
Let's be honest. If we went to war right now in Europe against Russia, we don't have sufficient military force to prevail. We can fight a war. We can't win a war. We can, if we went to war against China.
So, and that's very true, because at one point in time, back in the 90s, you had people, wanting to sign up for the military. Matter of fact, even in 2000, like early 2000s, you even had people who wanted to sign up for the military. That was the thing, patriotism, So it's not like that no more. If you try to do a draft right now, you know how many people are going to be like, hell to the no. All right. So you already don't have enough people who want to join the army. You worried about putting transmissions. We're going to call them that, people who were women, they call themselves men now, and people who were men who call themselves women now. You worried about putting them in leadership roles. So you got a woman. No, matter of fact, let's put it like this. You got a man who cut off his rod, and now he's a top general. You got a woman who took some pills to make herself a man. She's a top general. You worried about the LGBT, A, B, E, F, G, all the way to Z, about them having rights in the military. All right. So you got effeminate people in your military. You worried about the wrong things. You've been a bully the whole time. You always been on the offensive. You never thought about being on the defense. Then at one point in time, after World War II, you was the only nuclear power. All right. You the one that had the atomic bomb. Then, I think 6 months later, or either 6 years later, Russia did. So only you and Russia was the only nuclear power. Now everybody got the nukes. You allowed everybody to get their hands on the equalizer. See, weaponry have increased, and all these nations have the same technology as you. So, yeah, the Lord, man. I'm just so happy. You'll understand. Like I said this on the highways and byways yesterday. You have to rejoice in the prophecies, because that's the only thing that we can look up to. While we go through things in the world, the straight gate, the vexation of the spirit, being basically cuffed. We are prisoners of Yahushua. We can't do what we want to do. We can't just be like, what? I want to go to the club. I want to go, turn up. No. All right. We discipline out here to the best of our ability. All right. So, this is what we got to rejoice in, and everything is not little. These prophecies is big, especially that's why the scripture says that a wise man discerneth both times and judgment. But let's continue.
We could fight a war, but we can't win it. And that's even if we bring the totality of our conventional strength into play. And now we're talking about doing it against both Russia and China. The costs that are going to be associated with this are phenomenal. First of all, it's going to require a massive expansion of our conventional military power. The United States Army just had a shortfall in recruiting. They are literally tens of thousands of personnel short of what their authorized manning strength is, which means...
Going back to what I just said, America, they don't have that proud spirit anymore. You got so many people doped up on drugs. You got people high off of entertainment. Nobody got that rowdy war spirit no more. Like I said, you got men, you effeminizing men, you masculine, if it's a word, masculine women. All right. So it's like everything is backwards. So it says the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might have failed. They became as women. And that's literally and physically. Shit, these days. And it said they have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. So this is what's going to happen to you over there in the land of Israel. Because as it say in Isaiah 14:26, I will destroy the Assyrian in my land. All right. So it says one post, which is a news runner, One post shall run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of Babylon that a city is taken at one end. Taken at one end, which means that you're going to be destroyed, and it's going to be all over the news, and that's going to get people scared. Like, wait a minute, America lost? America's losing? All right? What do that mean for America? Then you're going to have people, in a frenzy thinking about, oh, shit, that means they're going to bomb us. Then what you going to do? So it says, and the passages are stopped, and the reeds they have burnt with fire, and the men were affrighted. So they're going to be starved out. The ones who do remain, they ain't gonna have no water, they ain't gonna have no food. They're going to be besieged. Besiege means to surround with hostile force. And usually when you surround people with a hostile force, you bringing them into surrender. All right? And like they always do, they're gonna hold some of y'all hostage, gonna make an example out of y'all. So it said, for thus saith Yahweh Ba'ashim of hosts, the power of Israel, the daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor. It is time to thresh her, yet a little while, and the time of harvest shall come. So the Lord is telling you, right after they get destroyed in the land over there in the Middle East, guess what? A little while, and then Babylon the Great is going to be a threshing floor, and the missiles is going to be doing the threshing. All right, so let's go back.
Instead of expanding the U.S. Army, they have to shrink it. They don't have enough men or women to fill the ranks. And so certain units, certain capabilities are being...
And if I'm not mistaken, over the videos I've seen over the years, I don't think I ever seen women like that in these nations' armies. That's already a loss right there when you got women, fighting in the army. I didn't see no women in the Russian army. I ain't seen no women in Ishmael, in Elam's army, in China's army. I see nothing but men, But anyways.
Taken down to zero because you don't have manpower to do this. And now Congress is talking about beefing up with what? Are you going to go to a draft? Have you run that by the American people? Is it really smart for the United States to talk about fighting a two war? Do we know what that means? It means that America has to leave our continental fortress, go across the oceans to fight a war over there in their backyard.
Right. And that you're being led to the slaughter. So everybody who's going to go into this war, because it is going to be a draft, you're going to die over there, as it say in 2nd Esdras 16 and 33. All right. Said that the bridegroom shall mourn, the virgin shall mourn, having no husbands. That's why Isaiah 4:1 gonna come to play. 7 women should take hold of 1 man. So a lot of men gonna die over here in the race wars, famine, all of that. And then you gonna have men dying over there, in the war. A lot of death is coming to the earth. And this is why we continue to keep reporting on the same things, because we are in that time. So instead of being like, oh, you're always saying that, as you see, the videos haven't even been on the mark of the beast like that. It's because the Lord is showing you right now, he got the spirit on what's about to go down in the Middle East. But remember, the mark of the beast is coming before that, So the Lord is probably going to turn the spirit pretty soon back on the mark of the beast, because as World War III is brewing up, the mark of the beast is already in rotation. That's why they're talking about digital IDs to fly on airplanes in certain states, So they just doing gradualism right now. So just believe that since this is brewing up, you already know what's coming. The crashing of the dollar.
In their backyard. That means we're taking Russia on, in a confrontation in Europe where Russia's logistics are literally right there next to them. They're supplying themselves from interior lines.
Well, and see, he don't know, but they're not going to be fighting a war in Europe. They're going to be fighting a war in Israel and in that region. And then it's going to go south down into the Arabia Desert, where it's between the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf. All right. So it's going to start off in Israel, as I say in Jeremiah 49 and 20. The least of the flock should draw them out, talking about the small hats, the 1948ers, the Jays. All right. It's going to draw America out. All right. And that's where they're going to die. They're going to perish there. So they're not going to fight a war in Europe. And guess what? Russia going to come. Matter of fact, let me get this right now while it's on my mind. Because the Lord prophesied this. When you go up in this chapter, I'm jumping straight to the point. When you jump up in this chapter, it talks about how, Gog and Magog is going to be a guard unto these nations, which consists of Libya, which is North Africa, Persia, Gomer, Togomar, which is talking about Turkey, Armenia, all those nations and regions. Well, the regions in Turkey, you got Azerbaijan, you got Georgia. So all that region right there. So, yeah. So it says, this is the Lord talking to Gog and Magog. It said, which is Russia. It said, and you shall come from your place out of the north part. So you're going to come out of your land, you and many people with you, the people that you are guard unto. And then right now, Israel is fighting against Hamas, which is Elam. And guess what? That's Persia. So Russia is about to get involved. And it said, all of them riding upon horses, a great company and a mighty army. And you shall come against my people Israel. Because remember, Israelites are still in that land. That's why you shouldn't even be over there. All right. But you got Israelites, who actually travel there. Them the ones I'm talking to. And then you have some who's actually there because that's the region that they was born in. So you actually have so-called looking white people that are Israelites that are in the land. So-called looking East Indians men, which is Elam. They are in the land. So-called looking Arab men. All right. So we're scattered into all nations. So it says, and you should come up against my people Israel as a cloud to cover the land. Oh, don't forget about so-called Ethiopians. You got Israelites within them too. So it says, come against my people Israel as a cloud to cover the land. It shall be in the later days, which is right now. And it will bring you against my land, that the heathen may know when I shall be sanctified in you, O God, before their eyes. Remember, the Lord said he put it in their hearts to fulfill his will. To be sanctified is to be made holy. So Gog and Magog is going to be holy for a appointed time. All right. Because you're doing the will of the Lord, but you're still going into captivity. When you go into the chapter over, it talks about Gog and Magog. Don't think that I'm with you. All right. You go into captivity too. Matter of fact, in the first 2 verses, I think it go into that in this chapter. So it says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, art you he of whom I have spoken in old times by my servants, the prophets of Israel. See, because we speaking it. All right. Ezekiel spoke on it. We're speaking about it now. Which prophesied in those days many years that I will bring you against them. And it shall come to pass at that same time when Gog shall come against the land of Israel, saith the Lord Yahweh, that my fury shall come up in my face. All right. So the Lord is going to see the destruction of the wicked. And we're going to see it too.
Of communication. We will have to extend ourselves. We don't have sufficient logistical buildup in Europe anymore. That would cost billions to do that. That means we have to sustain from the United States with lengthy supply lines. It's literally suicidal. If we want.
All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. America is foretold to lose. In the scriptures, that's where it matters. But we take the information to show the listeners that this is prophecy and it's a beautiful time to be alive. Shalom.